Hello, everybody. In this video, I'm going to describe to you a little bit about the types of information that the library encourages you use when you're looking for different types of sources and different types of information that you can use in your research. So this is the library page, which I've already gone into in another video. I wanted to outline a few different things of what we're going to look at today. First thing, the full catalog. Second thing, research databases. So, and if there's time, I might go into a few other things as well, but we'll start with the full catalog. So opening up the full catalog, we use a catalog called Primo. The former catalog did not have access to anything but the books, movies, and other physical things in the library collection, as well as ebooks and magazines. Now, Primo has access to many of our research databases. It also has access to all of the library's collection items. And then it also has access to a lot of open access or freely published and freely available, accessible databases that are available to you. So it's much bigger in scope than the former catalog. And in some ways, that's good because you'll get more results when you conduct searches. But in some ways, it's difficult because it's like using Google or Bing or another search engine in that you might receive too much. So, for example, I'm going to use Black Lives Matter because that's an example I keep using, and I'm going to search for that. Now, notice that on the drop-down, I've selected library. That is the largest option I have. I can also search books and ebooks, online resources, which excludes that physical stuff, EBSCO, which is one vendor that we have access to that a lot of people like, and then the items that are in our course reserves. But library is the best way to start when you're conducting your search in a research assignment. So Black Lives Matter, just a broad search like this is returning 162,000 results. There are numerous ways that you can filter out all of the different types of items that you don't want to see. For example, if you do not want books, you can hover over this X checkbox to exclude books. All right, didn't exactly remove many books from the total list, but still, it reduced our results a little bit. Now, maybe we want things that are pretty current. So let's do 2012 to 2017. And let's see what happens there. Okay, we're now down to 50,000. So we're slowly getting there. Now let's say we're interested in only newspaper articles. We'll click on that. Okay, we're interested in Black Lives Matter in the news, which is why I selected newspaper articles. So now we don't have books. We have years 2012 to 2017, and we only have newspaper articles. Next thing we can start doing is thinking about, okay, what's the subject matter? Black Lives Matter could be talked about in a lot of different ways. Let's talk about it in terms of police. We'll select police as the subject. So now we might get more results related to Black Lives Matter in the context of police, which is, of course, a broad subject, but it's narrowing it a little bit. Now, I'm doing this search blindly. I don't actually have a research question in my mind, but I'm using it just to demonstrate the variety of ways that we can filter from very broad 160 or so thousand results to very narrow 122 results in, how long was that? Less than 2 minutes? This, and then a combination of adding additional keywords, using different phrases, using the advanced search to add additional lines to refine your search terms is a great way to conduct research and experiment with learning about what's available in the catalog. So that covers searching in Primo. But I did want to point out, if you found something that you wanted to look at, for example, this top result, Black Lives Matter is our civil rights movement. Clicking on that will open up a new window. And once you're here, you have access to the full text of this newspaper article, which was published in the Daily Beast back in July 2016. And it's covering all this. I'm reading the abstract, and it looks like it's very relevant to what I'm researching. Once I agree that I want to actually find and read the article, I can click on the full text link here, pray that it works, and it did. And now I'm in the ProQuest website, which is the database vendor that hosts this particular document. Once I am in here, of course, I have access to saving the PDF and all of these other tools that are available to me to use. So that's Primo. One thing that you'll notice is that you can sign in. If you sign in, you can select current students, faculty, and staff. Okay, I can sign in here. Once you're signed in, you can actually do some pretty cool things. You'll notice that in the upper right corner, your name will show up. Right here is a little pin. You can pin this, much like in Pinterest or something, to save it to your list of favorites. As you can see, I had Hamlet identified, as well as Black Lives Matter is our civil rights movement. And then you'll also see that there are saved searches, because you can save actual searches, and search history, which is pretty awesome. To save a search, if we go back, will it take us back? Yep, back to results list. We can save the query there at the top of the screen, and so on and so forth. One thing that you'll notice, if you click on your account, you can go to My Library account, and you can actually see if you have any items checked out to you, and you can actually see all your other information as well, if you have any fines, fees, requests, etc. So that is basically Primo and what you can find in Primo. One thing that is important to note is that we have available through Primo, as well as through the databases that I'll go into momentarily, the ability to filter by peer-reviewed journals. Peer-reviewed means that these journals, these publications, have a peer review process where professionals who are considered experts or top-level researchers or top-level writers or publishers in the field allow the author or the researcher to have the opportunity to have their work reviewed prior to publication. If it's a peer-reviewed journal, that process is required before any particular piece of work is published. So in this case, I've selected peer-reviewed journals for the broadest search possible, and I only have 73,000. That's a lot, of course, but that is significantly less than if it was all of the materials that we had available. Of course, once I'm in here, I again can filter down even further. But peer review is a great way of looking for the high quality or the highest quality, most objective in most cases, ways of getting information. I will note, however, that despite peer review, publications themselves might be biased in certain ways. The most common example that I use is certain publications may be coming out of a religious university. And a religious university has a very particular mission in most cases, depending on its religion and its value system. And so there may or may not be certain biases or perspectives or opinions out of the publications, including the journals that get published through that publication. So even though it's peer-reviewed, even though it might be high quality, have a good review process, that does not mean that there are no particular perspectives or biases out of the work that is coming out of there. So be sure to pay attention to what the publication is that is putting this media, this information out there. So that is Primo. One thing I wanted to show very briefly is research databases. Clicking on that will take you to a list of the research databases. Most of these are available in Primo, but they can also be accessed directly through all of these different database links. And in the next video, I will show you a little bit of what to find in 2 of these databases.